Okay, my friends, here it is. The video that is going to explain to you everything you need to know in order to successfully start the fall garden. Because contrary to popular belief, the fall garden is actually started in July. Even zones 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all those pretty much can do it the same way. Definitely here in northern Indiana, zone 5/6, I will show you everything that I'm starting up now and also some parameters on how to start them up for best success. So listen up. Okay, so in most growing zones, you can get two plantings, two seasons really. You get the spring planting of things that matures quick and then you harvest, like your onions. This is onion from last year, by the way, still rock solid. But then you get stuff that takes all season, like the squash and the corn, the field corn and the sweet potatoes, things like that take all season long, all right? But for the things like the bush beans and the beets and the onions and garlic and sweet corn, stuff like that, you can plant things after that. So you really want to utilize the space that's available to you. So before I show you the things that I'm going to plant and that I recommend that you do, I want to explain something very important, and that is how you start them up, okay? This is important. So for the fall garden, we are not utilizing trays like this 72 hole tray, okay? Or I forget how many is in, but see how tiny these things are? We are not utilizing this for the fall garden. This is for the spring garden in the greens, okay? Because the fall garden, you want to have lots of soil available. So the smallest things you're going to want to use for the fall garden stuff are going to be something like this. These are the Bootstrap Farmer ones, which I like very much, very solid, and I've had good success with them already this year, as you'll see in a moment when we go outside. But if you didn't want to invest in these, then I just recommend doing the same thing I've been doing and getting the packs of solo cups. And watch the videos that I've made on how to start seeds, and I show you how to take a hot wire and pierce through them. But this is what you want, because this is going to give you so much more buffer as far as when you can plant things out. If you got something started in those tiny little trays, or even those 4-cell trays that you get from the store in the springtime, that's not going to be enough. Those need to go out right at exactly the right time. If you've got this much or even this much soil, then that is going to give you a much greater buffer zone as far as the health of the plant, because you don't want to have some sickly little plant that's overgrown its container, but yet not have anywhere to put it. If you plant it in something this size, then that will give you plenty of time. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. But the next thing is that you do not want to plant them out. You want to start them outdoors. The fall garden is started outdoors, because then we don't have to have any hardening off period. They're already hardened off. They're already going to be perfectly adapted to the outside. But in most zones, we do need to do something, which I will show you here in just a moment. We can't just put these out in the blazing sun, because these containers, the black containers, even these, they can get really roasting hot in the direct sun. So I'm going to show you real quick exactly what I like to do in order to keep things cool and moving along. And then we'll come back in and I'll show you the exact varieties to plant. Okay, so here is the bed where we are going to plant the fall carrots and beets, but that's not going to be for another couple weeks yet. So we're going to use this to start up seeds. So to do that, we're going to take some sections of 2-foot rebar, and then we're going to take this hammer and we're going to pound it into the ground. Now, when we do that, we want about 1 foot of it to be above ground and about 1 foot below ground. But you want to make sure that you're straight in line with one another. You don't want to have it cockeyed off to the left or off to the right. You want to have it straight like this. We want to put them one about every 3 to 5 feet, give or take, and we're going to pound that into the ground pointing straight up like this. Then we're going to make sure that we have one about every 3 to 5 feet so that we can use these PVC ribs. Now, the ribs are 1/2-inch PVC that we just get from Menards or Lowe's or wherever, and it's $3.29 a piece, but you want to make sure that you get the thin-walled stuff, because that's the stuff that's going to flex the best. Now, we're going to take that stuff, and then we're just going to put the end into the rebar, and then we're going to bend it down. We want to just put end in like this and then bend it. Don't worry, it's not going to break so long as you get the thin-walled stuff. And then we're just going to grab the other end and put it over the other rebar. Now this is going to be all the support that we need so that we can then put the shade cloth over it. So you want to make sure that you don't have too much distance between the ribs though. 3 to 5 feet is good, and any more than that, it's going to sag and droop too much. So here we've got some 40% shade cloth. Now we're going to take this and we're going to secure it with the zip ties, because we want to make sure that it doesn't blow around. So we're going to do it just like this and secure it on all 4 of the corners and in the middle and at the top, at the peak. We want to just have it nice and secure so that it's going to look like this, guys. We're going to have this nice shaded seed starting set up so that we don't get it scorched by the sun. If it gets scorched by the sun, they're going to die. So take a look real quick at this mammoth red rock cabbage starting to head up, and also the Gloria Weinkusen, nice delicious cabbages, and the patty pan squash, white scallop squash, eating those every day. So here is what you'll get, guys. Here's some yodfa, some cabbages, some shijimisa, some lettuces. All that stuff is going to really benefit from being underneath the shade cloth. Otherwise, guys, it can get like 170 degrees and roast everything. Okay, so now that you've got the proper shade cloth, you've got the container size chosen, now here are the varieties. So the first things that we're gonna start are the things that need to go in the ground first. So about the first couple weeks of July is when we start these seeds so that we can plant them out about the first week or 2 of August. And that's going to be things like the Chinese cabbage, if you like that, the Napa cabbage, they call that, if you make kimchi or stir fries. But the best storage cabbage, guys, is the Brunswick. This thing gets big and dense, and once the frost comes, it gets really sugary and sweet. Because remember, guys, the plants will sense that the days are getting cooler, and to avoid damage to the plant tissue, they will take some of their starches and convert them into sugars. And that because sugar water freezes at a lower temperature than regular water. And so therefore it will help to protect the plant, but it also makes it more sweet. So we want that. Highly recommend starting the Brunswick cabbage because it's going to store really well, and you can make kraut with it, all kinds of good stuff. Check out my video on how to make cabbage steaks. It's wonderful. Gloria Weinkusen is also good, although typically that's for the spring. For the fall time, I choose the Brunswick. But something we definitely want to get started are the Brussels sprouts. We want to get them started because they can take 100 days. They can take really cold they can take, in the low 20s, no problem. But you want to get them started, get them in the ground on the first week of August. Now, also the first week of August, we are going to direct sow the peas, but for the fall peas, we want to make sure that it is a dwarf variety. You do not want to choose for your fall planting of peas. Don't choose the ones that get 6 feet tall. You have to choose these ones that say 55 days, delightful dwarf variety, matures early. That's the key words that you want. So the Sugar Bond, Sugar Daddy, those kind are really good snap peas. You can eat the whole thing, very sweet and sugary as the days get cooler. But the Lillian's caseload is my favorite for shelling peas. And I have a mechanical pea sheller, and it works really good. So it takes the labor out of it. But you can shell them by hand. But these are the kind that you shell and you can freeze, but you don't eat the actual husk. Now, the next things that we're going to plant, direct sow the seeds anywhere between now and August 1st. The first week or so of August is going to be more beets, guys. Beets you can plant all season long, all the way up until the middle of August. I highly recommend the Cylindra beet, sugary sweet. It doesn't taste like dirt like many of the others can. It tastes nice like sweet compost. So good. And if you're a real grower, you know what I mean when I say it tastes good like sweet compost. Another good one is the bull's blood, although not quite as sweet, very, very dark. A couple of other things are going to be the Kyoto red carrot, super sweet, great for juicing. You will plant that anytime between now and the beginning of August. New Karuta, this is a good one if you're planting in the ground or if you're planting in less than ideal fluffy soil, because carrots need like a fluffy kind of loamy soil. But if you don't have that, then choose this variety and it does the best in my experience. The next thing will be the turnips, and these are going to be really good in the Japanese hot pot soups that we make. Also the daikon radish, also known as the tillage radish. Anytime between now and the first week or 2 of August is when we will plant these. Nantes scarlets, yes, those are a nice, soft, delicate one for fresh eating as well if you've got the proper soil. So next thing we're gonna move on to is the leafy greens. Now, these are things that you can have on the ready. This is the key, guys. This is the key to maximizing your food production in your area, is that you want to have all these things I'm about to show you. You can have these started up already in your containers and have them on the ready, so that if something is harvested or if something is sickly and it just doesn't look good, you can pull it and you can put one of these in there right away. Remember that real estate in the garden is very valuable, so maximize it by proper planning. So here are some things that I'm gonna be starting up. I love the butterhead lettuce, okay? The butterhead lettuce is gonna be thick and dark green and super flavorful. So we're gonna start up some heads of this plant, and it's all gonna be about the same timing, all right? So we're gonna start us up some heads of this. We're also gonna start some shijimisa, all right? Now these greens, what I'm gonna show you, can be eaten at any stage along the way. It's not like Brussels sprouts or the cabbages that need to get to a certain point before they can be eaten. All these things in this stack here can be eaten at any stage along the way, even as baby greens if you want. So, shijimisa, guys. If you're tired of your spinach bolting, then you need to be growing shijimisa. I talk about it all the time because it tastes just like spinach, except it's very resistant to bolting and the cold. It's a wonderful green to grow. Highly recommend it. Also, komatsuna. This is one of my favorite greens because of how cold hardy it is. I mean, this thing will keep growing until the days don't get above freezing at all. I mean, it will grow into November, no problem. Butter crunch lettuce, I also like this, really dark green. Tatsoi for the juicing, guys. This thing creates a type of juice that is so dark and rich that combine it with a couple of beets and a few of them carrots. Whoa, look out. Also, a Japanese giant red mustard. If you watched some of my previous videos of this spring, you saw this beautiful plant. Very spicy, delicious mustard. Also, the Chinese yellow heart. These are like winter choys. Some purple lady bok choy, these kind of things. I like growing these, at least a handful of them for stir fries or Japanese hot pot type. Late Nagasaki, a very good, tender, succulent green. And the Vulcan Swiss chard, all right? So you can plant any of that stuff right now. I highly recommend it. Don't dally around, get it happening. You're gonna thank yourself later because you're gonna have stuff that can go in, and in late August and September and October, you're gonna have a bountiful harvest. That is the key. The season is not over, guys. Now here's a couple things that you can still plant, but they're not cold hardy, okay? Here's a couple of things that this is not for the fall garden, but you can still plant. If you wanna get some zucchini, don't mess around, get them in the ground now. You will still get some zucchini before the frost comes. Kalima green beans, you still have the opportunity to plant some bush green beans. This is the best variety for canning in my experience. You can still plant some white scallop squash. Watch my videos recently. These plants are huge, producing like 6 or 10 of these little squash every day. So delicious. You can plant those. Now also, guys, I plant the holy basil. This stuff is super delicious and highly recommend. Although not frost tolerant at all, you can still plant some and get the good harvest, okay? I like the Thai sweet basil and the holy basil. So there you go, guys. Get it happening. Put it in the comments what you are starting for the fall garden, and then read through the comments so that other people can gain the knowledge. It's all about sharing the knowledge. I will see you right here Saturday, 12 noon Eastern time for the live Q&A, my friends. And I highly recommend you get on the aerated compost tea train. So I will direct you to this video here so you can learn to make the only fertilizer you actually need.